And without any further ado, I will turn it over to you, Martha Creek. Thank you so much for being with us.
Well, again, you're very, very welcome. It is a high privilege and a big honor. And
Everyone, please remember to mute yourselves now.
Mhm.
Sorry, Martha. Don't want to miss a word.
Yeah, that's absolutely all right, Dr. Deb. Thank you for what you've done to make all this possible here too, honey. So I think about in a time like this as I prepare um, our own spiritual practice and how we're required now to go beyond any kind of theory of surrender, beyond the theories of divine will, divine action, and beyond the theories of our already drawn paradigms of what is right and wrong, and what is good and bad. And to open our hearts over and over and over again to an infinite wisdom that says, you are not the controller of the universe. It's not up to you, Martha, to decide what is good and what is bad. And to any degree that I do that, any degree that you do that, we are bringing more suffering to ourselves and therefore to the world if quantum mechanics, quantum theory is true as a spiritual physical law, quantum theory, then any suffering I impose to myself, I'm imposing to the whole. Now, that sometimes is enough to get me to snap out of it, to get me to stop it, because even if there's a part of me that would continue to suffer me, that would continue to touch the same hot stove I have touched over and over again, knowing full well it burns me, I cannot touch that stove as often while I'm awake and aware that this is hurting others. As sadistic as it sounds, that I still do things that would hurt myself, and I cannot do it as much or as often when I'm awake and aware to knowing this is not only hurting me, this is hurting all. This is hurting the next child that's being born this afternoon. So my interrupting that patterning, my saying, okay, I've got to do something different here, and is a big contribution to interrupting the inertia of 2,000 years that we've inherited innocently, to say, I will consciously evolve. I will center myself and look at what I'm about to do, or look at what I'm actually thinking in this matter and say, I've got to choose again. Choose again. So then when my righteous indignation, my righteous judgment that is so bad, that is so awful, that is so wrong takes over, then I've got to connect with that part that's doing that out of fear, out of fright, out of knee-jerk, instinctual, hardwired reactivity and say, wake up, wake up. Come home to your infinite self. A deep centering breath, or three, when one isn't enough. Three big breaths, which we have been proven over and over, scientifically proven, physically proven, that it is the cleanest, closest, most efficient way to regulate our nervous system. Conscious breath. And then our hearts and minds are realigned to something that can be more responsive than reactive. The mystic presence, the high self presence in us, then can come forward to say, hey, there is another way of doing this. There's another way of seeing this. There's another way of being with this. And through a lens of power, potential, love, faith, imagination, resourcefulness, power, strength, imagination, zeal, will, understanding. These are the 12 and 8 powers that Charles Fillmore spoke about and wrote about. The 12 powers of humans that is active in us and that is to be activated in us, to be brought online in us. And we all have done this. We have done it and then not understood, hey, how could I have been so much more resourceful there? Or, hey, how could I have been so calm in a situation that I normally wouldn't have been calm in? So this is not new to us. Being with it in a new way, though, in a more expanded way, in a more conscious way, may be new. It's new to me, newer to me. So I'm immersed now in a series, a year-long series of self-compassion, followed by a year-long deep dive back into the teachings of the science of mind. And these are all recorded and they're on YouTube and they're free. So there's 7 or 8 minutes a day of revisiting some of the text that most of us in this room here had our lives transformed through these teachings. A transformational life was made possible to us through the teachings of the science of mind. So the call today is to get back to the basics of that. In prayer of ourselves, in prayer for ourselves. And as much as we pray and pray and pray and pray and pray for others, to make sure that our prayers include a prayer for us, a prayer for ourselves, a prayer for my innate powers to be ever more online, activated, in front, and leading from those innate inherent powers instead of being led by our more instinctual, knee-jerkish, animalistic ways of being that is wired also in us, and they don't have to run the show. So the divine consciousness we've read about, spoken about. Anyway, they're free on the YouTube channel, Martha Creek, Science of Mind, Daily Science of Mind, 365 days. In addition to that, there's free every day, a little 3-minute, less than 3-minute video on practicing self-compassion. And it's one thing to say, I know what self-compassion is. It's another thing entirely to apply it. It's one thing entirely to give quotes on self-compassion. It's another thing entirely to say, this is how I'm going to live self-compassion in myself today, in this situation. When I get a call that my friend is dying and I'm in a medical arena with my family and they're in Florida. Or I've just been given 2 months to live, she said. I've been given 2 months to live in January. And how desperately I want to go see her. And I can't see a way to do it. And I said to her in this case, if you live till February the 25th, I will see you. And that was this past Tuesday. And I got to see her. And she got to see me. And it is complete. Self-compassion for me also includes giving myself that. It required me to drive, already had been spent from 6:30 in the morning till 6 at night in a medical arena for a 2-hour procedure that took 5 hours, and now driving 3 more hours. And it's like the answer is yes, that I am going to drive that many more hours to see her, to keep my commitment, and to do what is right for my own soul. So be it. And self-compassion could have looked like saying, as much as I want to do this, as much as I committed to do this, as much as I believed I could do this, I don't have it to give. It would not be wise or safe or sane or sensible for me to get in a car at 6 hours after 12 hours of what I've just spent 12 hours doing and add another 3 hours of drive time to that. So only you know what is actual self-compassion and self-love. And pray for myself as I get in the car to go that my powers are active, that regardless of what that 12 hours drained off of me energy-wise, that I am renewed immediately, that I am prayed up, centered up, balanced, deep breathed, and I'm ready for this journey that I'm about to take. And that is drawing on an infinite power, an infinite potential, an infinite faith, an infinite understanding, an infinite strength that is way beyond any kind of physical form, way beyond any kind of thing that the mind would make up about what I can do and what I can't do and how much sleep I got to have and where I got to sleep and all that. That is not actually true. So, what is your prayer for yourself? What would you pray today for yourself? If you had a prayer for yourself today with what you're dealing with, physically, mentally, emotionally, financially, relationship-wise, dynamics-wise, world-wise, what would you pray for yourself? Fervently pray for yourself. If you were being as kind to yourself as you're often kind to others, what would you pray? So maybe put your hand over your heart. And whether you say the prayer or not, to invoke an energy of prayer, a redevotion, a recommitment to yourself, that you're going to be giving some attention here. That you are taking some responsibility, some new responsibility for your own well-being. And I'm reading now a meditation and a little prayer that's from this book that I'll be teaching on in March called The Mystic Jesus, The Mind of Love by Marianne Williamson. So let's do a little meditation. Close your eyes and see yourself lying on a flat, white marble slab in front of Jesus. And if Jesus is not your guy, then whoever it is, Buddha, Mary, Kuan Yin, and see them, whoever you're in front of, lifting their hands up above you. And see and sense and feel the emanation of light, a great light pouring forth from their hands. And that light covers your body, head to toe, every muscle, bone, skeleton, circulatory system, every organ. And that the light from that master, the light from that enlightened being is covering you, entering you, and see and sense and watch the light, the power of that. And that it may be more concentrated in a part of your body that has had pain or has been wounded in some way. Allow it. Allow this infinite source open to its restoration of you, restoring every cell, every organ, every muscle, every bone, every system of your being as it moves through your blood and bones and through your oxygenated cells. Allow, receive. And surrender your body to divine being. Surrender the body to Holy Spirit, to Creator. And ask that Creator, divine source, use your hands, your feet, every aspect of your physical self to aid the healing of the world. Use me. We give thanks for the healing in our own body. We know that our bodies heal best when we surrender, when we relax and allow. We give thanks, great respect, and gratitude for these bodies, what we've done and not done. We give thanks for the priceless gifts they are. And we give thanks for knowing, deeply knowing, that the body is not who we are. We give thanks for the way our body serves and for the ways that we can serve the healing of humanity through these bodies. We begin again today. So the invitation to me, to you, is what could you actually let be right now? To be all about changing what you can change, affecting what you can affect, and letting the rest be. All of it. That means including everything we've said is bad and awful and terrible. Like, if I cannot change that, then let it be. for my own sake. So the more sustainable we are, the more that we care for ourselves, the more that we can then say, okay, for if I'm a resource, if I am really about conscious evolution, if I'm about affecting the whole, if I'm about saying that the world was made better because of how I am, what I said, what I did, what I put forth, how I contributed, then all of my energy, 100% of my energy, has got to be directed as that. So then I'm not wondering where my energy went. I'm telling my energy where to go. I'm not wondering, hey, wait a minute, how did I leak off the vital part of my life being without, because I was mad, sad, afraid, rallying against something I had no power in, versus saying I gave all the power I had toward doing all the good I could do. And only I know what that is for me, and only you know what that is for you. Nobody else gets to tell you or me what is the way for me to do it, what is my way of doing it. So I can learn from others, and then through my own integrity to say, that made sense, that seemed true to me, and I did it. Therefore, I am my own soul authority. I am the SOLE authority of my SOUL. So I have soul authority for my own soul, for my own spiritual well-being, for my own emotional well-being, for my own spiritual growth and expansion. Because the 5 invitations is a powerful and, again, inspiring exploration of the essential wisdom that we all have and hold. They have transformed me. And when I use the word transformation, it's not mindlessly. I believe there's a cycle of transformation, and it includes awareness, expression, expressing just today the way the tears came up in me as I reflected on death, as I reflected on my missing Mr. Sweet, as I reflected on my missing these friends that have died in this last week. And one of them I got to see, the others I didn't. And how grateful I am that I don't have regrets, that my relationship with them was clean, that I had said what needed to be said. They knew exactly where I stood with them. I know exactly where I stand. I know exactly where they stand in my heart, and that is infinite. So a clean passing, no regrets, and my decisions and my commitment to living my life, leaning into and leaning toward what I'm about to do here. Will I regret it, or will I have less regret in doing it? And that has guided my actions for most of my life since I was a little girl. So the 5 invitations include don't wait. So don't wait. The woman that just left my house said she hadn't spoken to her brother in 5 years. And he died. And how much righteous indignation can be present. Well, we didn't believe the same way. Well, we didn't have the same beliefs. Well, he changed his email and didn't tell me he had changed his email, and my email's back. So all the excuses for why I've not talked to my brother. And a lot of regret that I let something like that stop me. So don't wait. Only you know what it is. So if today is the day, what would you regret? And whatever that is, pick it up, dust it off, and clean it up for your own sake. And for the sake of your own liberation, the sake of your own salvation, the sake of our freedom to say, I didn't let excuses stop me. I didn't let my righteous judgments, my righteous indignation stop me from doing what my heart was leading me to do. So as the heart leads, easier, kinder, and more causative if the science of mind is true, if our principles are true, then I'm causing more of what I want to see more of in the world. So my cause is creative cause, purposeful cause, intentional cause, causation, causing. Yes, more of that, please. The second invitation is to welcome everything. Most of you have heard me say, I do not welcome everything. No, no, no. I do not love what is. I don't even like what is most of the time. However, my life has been transformed by me allowing what is. I do not love it. I do not like it. I did not vote for it. And here it is. So my power lies in me accepting all that is, accepting what is. And I don't know that in this lifetime if I will ever welcome it. I don't know if I could ever embrace it. I don't know. I just know that I have a great liberation and a great freedom by allowing things, letting it be. The more resistance I put up, the more force I give it. The more resistance I put out, the more fuel I've given to it. So resistance is what is fueling what I don't want in the world. And I have a part of that. So I can't say it as welcome everything or embrace everything. I say it as allow everything. The Alpha and the Omega. The living and the dying. They respect me and they don't. They were kind and they were unkind. They included me, they excluded me. It's all got to be included because it's part of reality and not because I have to like it. And that's its own spiritual path, to stop pushing anything away or any idea away. Acceptance is the act of opening up to painful feelings, painful sensations, to fright, to whatever we may be experiencing, to open it up. So instead of shutting it down, butting it down, suppressing, depressing, disowning, and denying it's there, swing wide the door for it. And guess what? We may as well, because it is what's running our show primarily unconsciously. So it's time, and I believe it's really, really time now. And as hard as it is to believe that acceptance can open a different opportunity for us, a different experience for us, we know dang good and well that resistance hasn't done it. So is it time to give acceptance a chance? What would acceptance bring to your life, to your situations, to your relationships? And Rumi says it as the moment you accept, the moment I accept what troubles I have been given, the moment I accept what troubles I have been given, whatever I've been assigned to, the door will open. A new door will open. So Eckhart Tolle says it as, whenever a tragic loss occurs, you either resist or you yield. Some people become bitter and deeply resentful. Others become more compassionate, wiser. Yielding simply means an inner acceptance of what is. This opens us to life, and to life on its terms. I believe it's why we're here. And I studied Abraham Lincoln for years, and I've watched that movie Lincoln many times because it was a leadership training for me. And regardless of what political direction you go in, there's no one that could deny his leadership abilities and what he had to lead through. And he asked a very poignant question in there that went all the way to the core of me and still does today. And the question was, do you believe that you were fitted for the time that you're in? Do you believe that you were fitted? And the word I use is equipped. Do you actually believe that you were equipped to be in the time you've been assigned to? And my answer is yes. Yes. I am equipped for this. And I believe you are too. And I believe together we can do what none of us can do alone. So, the third invitation is to bring our whole self to the experience. That means the relief when someone dies and the grief when someone dies. And many of us here have spent decades trying to spiritually bypass grief and spiritually bypass uncomfortable feelings, sadness, anger, rage, despair, and it's gotten us to where we are. So what if we allow all of that? We bring our whole self to it. So my delighted self and my despaired self. My optimistic self and my, ooh, I don't know self. And to let all of it be included. The next invitation is to find a place of rest in the middle of these messy, messy things. To find a place to rest, to give our emotions a rest, to give our overactive thought, got to sort it out, connecting the dots, solve, 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 mind a rest. To give the body rest. And a poet named David White moved me deeply a few years ago by a presentation he made that he said, the antidote to exhaustion is not rest. The antidote to exhaustion is wholeheartedness. So this is what got me in touch with what I am doing that doesn't make my tail wag. So I was wearing myself out because the things I was doing were not true for me. They were done out of pattern, out of despair, out of obligation, and they were seldom done out of inspiration. And the more I do things out of inspiration, the less tired I am. What looks like an infinite energy. People say this to me nearly every day. Where do you get the energy? Where do you get the energy? How do you do as much as you do? And the answer is, I have the same energy as other people. I'm just not leaking it off like other people do. I'm doing less and less out of obligation, less and less out of desperation, less and less out of guilt and shame, and more out of, is this true for me? And at the end of this day, if today is my day, would I be glad I did this or wishing I hadn't of? And then to let that guide my actions. So I feel at rest while I'm at work. I'm able to rest while I work now because being with you today inspires me. I come away from this lifted up, not drained off. That's how I know I'm in integrity to myself. When I leave a situation, when I leave a conversation, when I leave an interaction, when I leave a work situation, and I'm uplifted by it instead of drained off by it. We know, you know. And then the last one is the hardest for me, I think, and most of us, which is to cultivate an I don't know mind. So when somebody says, ain't it awful, ain't it awful, ain't it awful? It's like, I don't know. Well, that is a tragedy. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know the divine scheme. I don't know what souls have come here to experience. I don't know. And when I step in and claim I know and act like I know, I get stressed again. And I notice my energy draining off. So not knowing is a gateway to a deeper appreciation of the potency of our basic nature. I don't know yet what my limits are. I don't know yet what I'm able to do and not do. I don't know yet where I can be effective and where I can't. I'm a researcher. I'm here to see what's possible. And I'm driven then and guided by the belief and absolute faith and belief in there is a divine potential, that I am of infinite potential. So this infinite potential cannot be known by already drawn conclusions and already drawn worldviews and mind views that have not served me. So this not knowing can take us beyond our ordinary way of thinking, beyond our ordinary way of seeing things, beyond our ordinary intimacy with Creator, to say, I'm trying desperately to map something that can't be mapped, to control what is not controllable, and to open to the part of us that exists and the part of us that doesn't in this form, the part of us that's beyond this form. So, but then beyond each occurrence, beyond each feeling, beyond each breakfast, beyond the beyond, I am that I am. And to know the sacred is not to see new things necessarily, but rather to see all things in a new way, and how to be with all things in a new way. That the sacred is not separate. We talk oneness, we talk wholeness, and it's not embodied yet. Oneness is a concept until we embody oneness. And wholeness is a concept until we embody wholeness. So then whatever spiritual practice you have that uplifts you, only you know what it is. Silence, solitude, surrender, contemplation, reflection, mantra, reading, pausing, resting, an inner quietness that can be felt in the heart. The feel of the rain, a view of a sunflower, of a mountain, of a snow top, something beyond the languaging. Only you know. So I think I read this the last time we were together, and some of you were moved by it. So here it is again. The breeze at dawn has secrets to tell you. Don't go back to sleep. You must ask for what you really want. You must ask for what you really want. Don't go back to sleep. People are going back and forth across the door sill. People are going back and forth across the door sill where the two worlds touch. The door is round and open. The door is open. Don't go back to sleep. It's from Rumi. And then another prayer from the mystic. And this is our prayer. So pray it with me, if you will, for whoever is on your heart or mind. That is a relationship that you could use a little ease around. So this was one I prayed regarding my brother. So, dear God, creator of all that is, mind, universe, the source of all being, I surrender and place into your hands this relationship. Lift us above the walls that divide us. Lift us up above the walls that divide us. Thank you for a great wave of forgiveness. This forgiveness that comes upon us both right here and right now. A great wave of forgiveness that washes away all thoughts of guilt, that washes away anything that could or would destroy love. May our eyes be opened now, here and now, to the innocence in ourselves and the innocence in each other. May our relationship be lifted to divine right order. We give thanks for this blessing upon us both. We give thanks. We extend this as we pray now, that we give thanks for a blessing upon all people. All people. A new freedom, a new liberation, a new way of looking at things, a new way of seeing things. In whatever form you appoint it to us, God, we accept that. Thy will be done. Thy will is done. We let it be. Amen. So the transformation of consciousness is a direction to go in, not a tick box exercise. Not I've read The Science of Mind 5 times. I've been in this teaching for 50 years. A transformation of consciousness is possible for each of us in our day-to-day lives, and it requires active engagement, active conscious choice. It's not something we can think our way through. It's not a strategic plan to execute. But transformation requires an open-ended, open-hearted, open-minded willingness to be fully vulnerable to the experience of the unknown, to the mysteries. And it's my biggest and greatest spiritual practice to accept the mystery of it. So, what's next? I bless your heart. I uplift your heart. I'm here to serve you and to serve with you. And thank you for being here today and for all the ways you're contributing to a transformation of consciousness in you and therefore the soul of humanity. I love you.
marthacreek.com if I can support you. Blessings.